This story is titled, My Girlfriend Wanted an Open Relationship, so I slept with her best friend. Now she's losing it. Hey Reddit, never thought I'd be posting here about relationship stuff, but I really need to get this off my chest and maybe get some advice. I'm 28 male, and up until recently, I thought I had a pretty solid relationship with my girlfriend Sophie, 27 female. We've been together for 3 years, living together for two, and honestly, everything was going great. Like, I was secretly checking out engagement rings on my lunch breaks. Kind of great. We met through mutual friends at a board game night. Super normal story. She laughed at my dumb jokes. I liked how she was super competitive at Monopoly, and we just clicked. Started dating pretty much right away. Got an apartment together after a year because it made sense. We were always at each other's places anyway. We had our routines, you know? Sunday morning pancakes, walking in the park after work, watching those terrible reality shows she loves while I play games on my phone. Normal couple stuff. Sophie works in marketing. I'm a project manager in construction. We both have decent jobs, good friends, and our families get along great. My mom loves her. Her dad always invites me to watch football. We were that couple that other people said gave them hope about relationships. Yeah, I know how that sounds now. Everything was perfectly normal until last Tuesday. We were having dinner, Sophie was telling me about some work project, and I was halfway through my sandwich when she just goes, Hey, what would you think about trying an open relationship? I literally stopped mid-bite, like fork halfway to my mouth, just frozen there. I thought maybe I heard her wrong, but nope. She kept talking about how she'd been reading about it online, how lots of couples were trying it these days, how it could help us grow individually and make our relationship stronger. Is there someone specific you want to date? I asked, because honestly, that was my first thought. Who brings up open relationships unless they've got someone in mind, right? Sophie got all defensive. No, it's not about anyone else. I just think it would be good for us to explore ourselves more. We're still young, and I don't want us to wake up in 10 years wondering what we missed out on. I sat there trying to process what was happening. This is the same girl who once got mad because a waitress smiled at me too much. Now she's talking about dating other people like she's suggesting we try a new restaurant. Have you been feeling unhappy? I asked, because maybe I'd missed something. Maybe there were signs I should have seen. Not at all, she said, reaching across the table to grab my hand. I love you. I love us. This isn't about being unhappy. It's about making our relationship even better. Think about it. We could both have new experiences, but still come home to each other. Lots of couples say it makes their connection stronger. I didn't know what to say. My brain stalled somewhere between confusion and panic. My appetite completely gone. The food in front of me might as well have been cardboard. Sophie, on the other hand, was animated, practically glowing as she talked, going on about boundaries, rules, communication. But all I could think was, where is this coming from? And yet, yeah, I know this makes me sound like a complete pushover. I said, okay, not because I wanted to, not because I believed in it, but because the sheer eagerness in her eyes, the way she leaned in, practically pleading for me to be on board, made it clear she had already decided. Saying no felt like shutting a door that she had no intention of closing. Are you sure you're okay with this? She asked, all wide-eyed concern, like she was giving me a real choice. We don't have to if you're not comfortable. I looked at her, at how desperate she seemed for me to agree, and somewhere in the back of my mind I knew, this isn't really a choice. Whether I liked it or not, something was already shifting between us. And if I wanted to figure out what was really going on, I had to play along. No, it's fine, I said, forcing a nod. If you think it'll be good for us, we can try it. And just like that, I stepped into something I didn't believe in, knowing deep down I was already losing her. She got all excited, started talking about how we should set up dating app profiles together, how we should have a system for letting each other know when we have dates planned. All these details she seemed to have already thought about. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there wondering how long she'd been planning this. The rest of the night was weird. We watched TV like normal, but my mind was racing. Sophie was cuddled up next to me on the couch, acting like everything was perfectly fine, like she hadn't just suggested completely changing our relationship. I kept wanting to take it back, to tell her I wasn't actually okay with it, but I didn't know how. Every time I looked at her scrolling through her phone with this little smile on her face, I felt more and more like I'd just made a huge mistake. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. Sophie was out cold next to me, peaceful as could be, while I stared at the ceiling wondering what the hell I'd gotten myself into. Part of me wanted to wake her up and tell her no, that I didn't want to share her with anyone else. But another part of me was scared. Scared that if I said no, she'd do it anyway, or leave me for someone else. So I lay there, running through every conversation we'd had recently, trying to figure out if there were signs I missed. Was she bored? Was I not enough? Was there already someone else? The questions kept coming, and I had answers for none of them. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of how messed up things were about to get. Things started changing the very next day. Sophie spent the whole evening setting up her Tinder and Bumble profiles, asking me to help pick photos like this was some totally normal thing for a boyfriend to do. She even asked me to take new pictures of her. Yeah, seriously. I played along, taking photos of my girlfriend so she could look good for other guys. I tried setting up my own profile too, just to show I was making an effort, but my heart wasn't in it. Every time I tried writing a bio, it felt weird and fake. What was I supposed to write? In a relationship but looking for fun? The whole thing made me feel gross. I think that she knew that I wouldn't meet with anyone because I am not social, and I don't have time or energy to meet new people. And I told her about that a couple of times, so she thought she could go into dates and keep me as a backup plan. Sophie got matches right away. Obviously, she's gorgeous and fun. But what really got to me was how fast she started meeting these guys. Within a week, she had 3 dates lined up. 3. She'd show me their profiles like we were gossiping about celebrity crushes or something. Look at this one, she'd say, shoving her phone in my face. He's a personal trainer at that fancy gym downtown. We're getting coffee tomorrow. And I'd just nod and try to act like this was totally cool and normal. The first time she got ready for a date, I felt sick to my stomach. She wore this black dress I'd never seen before. Yeah, she bought new clothes for this, and spent like an hour doing her makeup. When she walked out of our bedroom, she did this little twirl. "How do I look?" she asked, all excited. "Great," I managed to say, while thinking about how that dress probably cost more than what she usually spends on our date nights. She came home late that night, all giggly and happy. I pretended to be asleep when she got in bed, but I heard her texting someone for like an hour. The next morning, she was humming while making coffee, acting like everything was perfect. I started paying attention to her schedule. Monday, it was coffee with the gym guy. Wednesday, dinner with some lawyer dude. Friday, drinks with a guy who owned a food truck. Yeah, the range was interesting. Each time, she'd come home looking like she'd had the time of her life. I started checking the locations she was tagging on Instagram. Not my proudest moment, but I needed to know what was really going on. One night, I actually drove by the restaurant where she said she was having dinner. Saw her sitting at the bar with some tall guy in a suit, laughing at whatever he was saying. She had her hand on his arm, looking at him the way she used to look at me. The worst part wasn't even seeing her with these guys. It was how she changed at home. She started spending way less time with me. No more cuddles. She was always texting someone. Our Sunday pancake tradition? Forgotten because she was meeting the girls for brunch. I tried talking to her about it once. "Don't you think you're going on a lot of dates?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She looked at me like I was being ridiculous. That's the whole point of an open relationship, isn't it? To meet new people and have experiences? You should try it too. I can help you with your profile if you want. But I didn't want help with my profile. I wanted my girlfriend back. I wanted the person who used to get excited about ordering pizza and watching bad movies with me. Not this new version who was always dressed up and heading out the door. One night, she was getting ready for yet another date. Guy number 6 or 7. I'd lost count. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I went for a walk to clear my head and ended up at this park where we used to have picnics. Sat there for like 2 hours, thinking about how fast everything had fallen apart. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Sophie. "Hope you're okay. Don't wait up. Having such a great time." Each message felt like she was twisting the knife a little more. The next day, she tried to tell me about her date. Some story about how funny this guy was. How he took her to this amazing new restaurant. I just got up and left the room. She followed me, looking confused. "I thought you were okay with this," she said, sounding actually surprised. "You said you were fine with it." "Yeah, well, maybe I'm not," I finally said. "But you could be dating too. You're choosing to stay home and be miserable." That's when I realized she really didn't get it. She couldn't understand that I didn't want to date other people. I wanted her. The old her. The one who used to love our boring, normal life together. By this point, it had been 3 weeks since she started this whole open relationship thing. 3 weeks of watching her get dressed up for other guys. 3 weeks of lying awake wondering where she was, what she was doing, who she was with. 3 weeks of feeling like I was losing my mind. I honestly thought she'd snap out of it, to realize how ridiculous she sounded. I kept waiting for her to wake up and see how stupid this whole thing was, to understand what she was throwing away. But she didn't. No hesitation, no guilt. She was actually proud of it. She walked around like she unlocked some higher level of dating, like she'd figured out something the rest of us were too dumb to understand. And the worst part? I couldn't wrap my head around why. She seemed happy with me. So why burn it all down? Why act like what we had wasn't enough? That's when it finally clicked. There was no fixing this. No coming back. It was over in a way that couldn't be undone. And for the first time, I wasn't even sure I cared anymore. The thought of her out there, living it up without a care, while I was stuck here drowning in it, it lit something in me. I wanted to make her regret everything, make her see exactly what she threw away. But that didn't mean I had a plan yet. I just knew I wasn't going to sit around suffering while she got to have all the fun. I hadn't figured out my next move yet. I just knew I needed to talk to someone. Someone who would actually understand how messed up this all was. And that's when Emma started coming around more often. Emma's been Sophie's best friend since their freshman year of college. She was always around our place. Movie nights, helping us move furniture, bringing soup when one of us was sick. Just one of those really genuine people, you know? She's a kindergarten teacher, which fits her perfectly because she's got this way of making everyone feel heard and important. I never thought of her as anything more than Sophie's friend. Sure, she's pretty. Long brown hair, green eyes, always smiling. But she was firmly in the friend zone in my mind. Plus, she dated this guy Mark for like 2 years, though they broke up a few months ago. The first time she came over after Sophie started this open relationship thing, it was to borrow some mixing bowls for a birthday cake she was making. Sophie was out, surprise, with some new guy, and Emma could tell something was off with me. "You look terrible," she said, in that direct way she has. "What's going on?" I didn't mean to tell her everything, but it just came out. How Sophie sprung the open relationship idea on me, how she'd been dating different guys almost every night, how I felt like I was going crazy watching it all happen. Emma sat there listening, actually listening, not just waiting for her turn to talk. When I finished, she shook her head. "That's not an open relationship," she said. "That's just Sophie doing whatever she wants without caring how it affects you." Something about hearing someone else say it made me feel less insane. Emma started coming by more often after that, usually when Sophie was out on her dates. We'd watch movies, order takeout, just hang out. It was nice having someone to talk to who knew both of us and could understand the situation. One night, about a month into Sophie's exploring, Emma came over looking kind of nervous. She was fidgeting with her necklace, which I knew was something she did when she was anxious. "I need to tell you something," she said, sitting on the other end of the couch. "And it might make things weird, but I can't keep pretending." My stomach did this weird flip thing. I think part of me knew what was coming. "I've had feelings for you for a long time," she said, looking at her hands. "Like, since before you and Sophie even got together. But you were with her, and she's my best friend, so I never said anything. I started dating Mark hoping it would help me get over it, but..." She shrugged. It didn't work. I sat there, trying to wrap my head around it. Emma, kind, hilarious, drop-dead gorgeous Emma, had feelings for me? How did I not see that? She was the one who helped me pick out gifts for Sophie. The same Sophie who was still figuring out if she even wanted something serious with me. Emma, who made me homemade chicken soup when I was sick, while Sophie barely texted to check in. Had I been blind this whole time? "You don't have to say anything," she added quickly. "I just needed you to know. Watching Sophie treat you like this, seeing how much it's hurting you, it's been killing me. You deserve better than this." I looked at her, really looked at her, maybe for the first time. That simple green sweater somehow made her eyes glow, and her hair was up in one of those effortless, messy buns, the kind that shouldn't be attractive, but somehow made her look even better. And right then, I wondered how the hell I never noticed before. At the same time, Sophie's actions were still burning in the back of my mind. She really thought I'd sit around, waiting like some loyal idiot, while she paraded around with not just one guy, but multiple? Like I was some safety net, just there whenever she got bored. That was her biggest mistake. She was out there doing whatever she wanted, thinking I'd still be available when she decided to come back. Nah, for me, that chapter was closed. I wasn't playing by her terms anymore, I was playing by mine. I decided to shoot my shot. I took a breath, feeling that shift, that moment where I finally took control. "Emma," I started, my voice steadier than I expected. She moved closer on the couch. "I know this is complicated. I know I'm probably making everything worse by telling you this. But seeing you so unhappy these past few weeks, I just couldn't stay quiet anymore." Then she kissed me. Just leaned in and kissed me. I should have stopped it. I should have thought about Sophie, about our friendship, about how complicated this would make everything. Instead, I kissed her back. It wasn't just a kiss. We ended up spending the night together, and it was different. Emma noticed me, really was interested in me. She noticed when something in my expression changed, asked what I was thinking. actually cared about the answer. Afterward, lying there in the dark, I let it all sink in. How far this had gone. How everything had shifted. The realization that I'd just slept with my girlfriend's best friend. Something that should have felt like crossing a line. But all I could think about was how right it felt. I thought this wasn't some meaningless rebound, some impulsive mistake. She turned to me, propping herself up on her elbow, her eyes searching mine. "What are we going to do?" she asked, her voice quiet but steady. I exhaled, staring up at the ceiling. I should have had an answer, should have felt guilt, conflict, something. But all I felt was relief, like I could finally breathe after weeks of suffocating in Sophie's mess. "I don't know," I admitted. Emma hesitated, then said, "I don't regret it. Do you?" The crazy thing? I didn't. Not even for a second. Because for the first time since this whole open relationship disaster began, I saw things clearly. I wasn't the one who ruined us. I wasn't the one who broke trust. And maybe, just maybe, I deserved someone who actually wanted me. Just me. "Sophie's going to lose it when she finds out," I said. "Probably," Emma agreed. "But isn't it funny how she thinks it's perfectly fine for her to date other people, but the idea of you doing the same would drive her crazy?" She had a point. And that's when I decided maybe it was time for Sophie to get a taste of her own medicine. I didn't tell Sophie about Emma right away. Part of me wanted to see how she'd react to little hints first. Yeah, maybe that was petty, but after watching her parade around with different guys for weeks, I figured she deserved to feel what that was like. The morning after Emma left, Sophie came home from staying at Jessica's place. Pretty sure Jessica was actually some guy named Jason, but whatever. She was all chatty, telling me about her girls' night while making coffee. That's when I dropped the first hint. "Oh, Emma stopped by last night," I said, super casual. "We had a really good talk." Sophie's hand froze on the coffee pot. "Emma was here?" "Yeah, we hung out for a while. She's really easy to talk to, you know?" Sophie put her coffee mug down too hard, splashing some on the counter. "What did you guys talk about?" "Just stuff," I said, shrugging. "Life, relationships, feelings. It was nice." The look on her face was priceless. She spent the next hour texting someone, probably trying to get details from Emma, while pretending to watch TV with me. I could see her glancing at me every few minutes, trying to figure out what happened. Over the next few days, I started mentioning Emma more and more. How funny she was. How she really understood me. How we'd been texting. Each time, Sophie would get this tight look on her face, like she was trying not to react but couldn't help it. One morning, I was smiling at my phone while texting Emma, and Sophie practically jumped across the couch to see what I was looking at. "Who are you texting?" she asked, trying to sound casual and failing completely. "Just Emma," I said. "She's really into this new show I recommended." Sophie's face did this weird thing where she tried to smile but looked like she was in pain instead. "You guys have been talking a lot lately." "Yeah, she's great to talk to. Really gets me, you know?" Sophie started doing this thing where she'd check my phone when I left it lying around. She thought she was being sneaky about it, but I'd catch her scrolling through my messages when she thought I was in the bathroom or kitchen. The funny thing? I deleted any real evidence of what happened with Emma. I just left enough normal friendly text to make her suspicious and drive her crazy. Then, Sophie started showing up at places where she knew I'd be. Like, I'd mentioned going to grab coffee at this place near work, and suddenly she'd just happened to be there. Or I'd say I was meeting friends at a bar, and she'd show up an hour later saying she was in the neighborhood. The best part? She started canceling her own dates. Suddenly, she was home more often, wanting to watch movies or cook dinner together. It was like watching someone try to mark their territory without admitting that's what they were doing. After countless attempts to get closer, each one met with me shutting it down. She finally came right out with it. "Are you seeing someone else?" "Isn't that kind of the point of an open relationship?" I replied. "To see other people?" "Yeah, but who is it? Is it Emma? Are you sleeping with Emma?" I just smiled and said, "I thought we weren't supposed to share details about our other partners. Isn't that what you said when I asked about your dates?" Sophie lost it. Started going through my Instagram followers, checking who liked my posts, analyzing every interaction I had online. She even started following Emma's social media obsessively, reading into every post or story Emma shared. The final blow came when Emma posted a selfie in a coffee shop, the same coffee shop where I get my morning coffee. Sophie called me immediately. "Are you with Emma right now?" "Sophie, I'm at work." "But you always get coffee at that place in the morning? Did you meet her there?" I let her panic for a minute before saying, "That coffee shop has like 1,000 customers every day. People can go to the same coffee shop without it meaning anything." But Sophie wasn't buying it. She started asking me where I was going all the time, who I was seeing, what I was doing. The same woman who'd been coming home late from dates for weeks, who never gave me straight answers about who she was with, was suddenly demanding to know my every move. Emma thought it was hilarious when I told her about Sophie's behavior. We'd been meeting up secretly, usually at her place where Sophie wouldn't accidentally spot us. The small doubt I'd initially felt about hooking up with her was fading fast, replaced by something that felt a lot like justice. She really can't handle not being in control, can she? Emma said one night while we were cuddled up on her couch. Nope, I agreed. And the best part? She can't even complain about it without admitting she never actually wanted an open relationship. She just wanted permission to cheat. That's when Sophie decided to change tactics. She came home one night and dropped a bomb that would change everything. I think we should close the relationship again. I stared at Sophie as she sat there on our couch, looking all serious and concerned, telling me how she thought we should focus on us again. The same person who'd been going on dates left and right for weeks was now sitting there acting like she was doing me some huge favor. I just think we've explored enough, she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled it away. We could go back to how things were before. Just you and me. I couldn't help but laugh. Just you and me? Like the past few weeks never happened? Well, yeah, she said, looking confused by my reaction. Isn't that what you wanted? You haven't seemed happy with the open relationship? That's when I decided it was time to stop playing games. You're right. I haven't been happy watching my girlfriend go on dates with a new guy every other night while barely acknowledging my existence. Her face did this weird thing where she tried to look sympathetic, but couldn't quite pull it off. I know it was hard for you, but that's why I'm saying we should close things up again. We can work on us. Work on us? I repeated. Like how you've been working on getting to know half the guys in this city? That's not fair, she said, getting defensive. You agreed to the open relationship. You could have been dating too. Oh, I have been, I said, watching her face carefully. I've been seeing someone. Sophie went pale. Like, actually pale. What? Who? Does it matter? Isn't that what you wanted? Both of us exploring and having new experiences? She jumped up from the couch. Of course it matters. Who the hell is it? How long? Is it Emma? It's Emma, isn't it? I just sat there, letting her spiral. She started pacing around our living room, running her hands through her hair. It is Emma, isn't it? That's why you've been talking about her so much. That's why she's been avoiding my calls. My best friend? Really? Funny how you're allowed to sleep with whoever you want. But the moment I do the same, it's a problem. But it's Emma, she screamed. She's my best friend. You can't sleep with my best friend. Actually, I said, standing up, I can. And I did. Sophie stopped pacing. She stared at me like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. What did you just say? I slept with Emma. Multiple times, actually. And you know what? It was great. She actually cares about my feelings, which is more than I can say for you lately. Sophie's face went from shock to rage in about 2 seconds. You're lying. Emma would never do that to me. Really? Because she did. Want to know what else? She's had feelings for me for years. Even when she was dating Mark, she was thinking about me. You're making this up to hurt me, Sophie said, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. I'm not. Remember last Thursday when you were out with that startup guy? Emma came over. We talked for hours, then we slept together. She sees me as a person, not just some backup plan waiting at home while you live your best life. Sophie grabbed her phone, probably to call Emma. I don't believe you. Emma would never. Check your texts with her, I said. Notice how she's been kind of distant lately? Not really responding to your messages? That's why. She scrolled through her phone frantically, probably seeing all the unanswered messages and short replies from Emma in a new light. This can't be happening, she muttered. This isn't how this was supposed to go. Oh, really? How was it supposed to go? You get to have fun with other guys while I sit at home being the loyal boyfriend? Did you really think I wouldn't eventually meet someone else? But not Emma, she yelled. Anyone but Emma. You knew this would hurt me. I lost it at that point. Hurt you? What about how much you've been hurting me? Watching you get dressed up for other guys, coming home late smelling like someone else's cologne, barely even looking at me anymore. Did you ever think about how that felt? That was different, she tried to argue. Those guys didn't mean anything. So that makes it better? The fact that you were just having meaningless hookups while I actually developed real feelings for someone? I intended to throw some hints here and there to let her feel the burn that she made me feel. She stopped, staring at me. Real feelings? Yeah, real feelings. Emma and I, it's not just physical. We talk, we laugh, we actually care about each other. When was the last time you and I had a real conversation that wasn't about your dates or your new experiences? Sophie sat back down on the couch, looking defeated. So what are you saying? You want to be with Emma now? I'm saying this open relationship thing showed me what I really want. And it's not someone who treats me like an afterthought. She started crying then, big dramatic sobs that probably would have worked on me a month ago. But all I could think about was how she hadn't shed a single tear over how much she'd been hurting me. We can fix this, she said between sobs. We can go back to how things were. I shook my head. No, we can't. Because now I know what it feels like to be with someone who actually values me. And I'm not settling for less than that anymore. That's when Sophie did something I never expected. She grabbed her keys and stormed out, saying she was going to Emma's place to sort this out once and for all. The moment Sophie slammed the door, I grabbed my phone to warn Emma. When I told her Sophie was heading her way, she just said, "Let her come." Emma's always been the calm one. Like nothing seems to shake her. Still, I offered to come over for support. "No," Emma said. "I need to handle this myself. She's been my best friend for 10 years. I owe her that much." I spent the next hour pacing around our apartment, checking my phone every 2 minutes. The place felt weird, like when you know a storm is coming and the air gets all heavy. Finally, Emma called. Her voice was shaky. "She showed up screaming," Emma said. "Like, my neighbors probably heard everything. She kept yelling about how I betrayed her, how I'm a terrible friend, how I'd been plotting this all along." "What did you say?" I told her the truth, that I've had feelings for you for years, but never acted on them because she was my friend. That watching her treat you like garbage these past weeks made me realize she never deserved either of us. That what happened between us wasn't planned, but I don't regret it. Apparently, Sophie didn't take that well. She tried to push past Emma into her apartment, saying she needed to see for herself if I was there. When Emma blocked the door, Sophie accused her of hiding me. "She's completely lost it," Emma said. She started listing all these random times we hung out, trying to prove we'd been sneaking around behind her back for months. Even brought up that time last year when you helped me move my couch. You know, when she was too busy with work to help? Sophie had apparently convinced herself that every interaction Emma and I ever had was some secret sign of an affair. The time Emma brought me soup when I had the flu? Obviously a cover for hooking up. The group movie nights at our place? Just an excuse to make eyes at each other. Then she started crying, Emma continued, like sliding down my door frame crying, saying she never meant for any of this to happen. My neighbor came out to check if everything was okay. It was mortifying. Sophie finally left after Mrs. Chen threatened to call the police about the noise, but not before telling Emma that she'd ruined everything and that she'd never forgive her. About 20 minutes after my call with Emma ended, Sophie came back to our place. She looked terrible. She walked in, saw me on the phone, I was texting Emma updates, and just lost it. "Are you texting her right now? Planning your next meetup? How long have you two been laughing at me behind my back?" "Nobody's laughing at you, Sophie. You did this to yourself." "I didn't do anything," she screamed, throwing her purse across the room. "I suggested an open relationship to make us stronger. I didn't tell you to go sleep with my best friend." "No, you just wanted permission to sleep with whoever you wanted while keeping me as your backup plan." She started grabbing things, pictures of us, gifts I'd given her, and throwing them in a box. "I'm going to stay at Jessica's, my real friend, someone who wouldn't stab me in the back." "Fine by me," I said. "Take whatever you want." That made her pause. "That's it? You're not even going to try to stop me?" "Why would I? You've made it pretty clear what matters to you, and it's not me or this relationship." She stopped packing and sat on the couch, suddenly looking really small. I thought you'd always be there. That no matter who else I dated, you'd be waiting when I was ready to settle down." And there it was, the truth finally coming out. I wasn't her partner. I was her safety net, her backup plan, her guaranteed happy ending while she went out and explored. "Well, you thought wrong," I told her. "I'm not some puppy waiting faithfully by the door while you're out having fun. I'm a person with feelings, and I deserve better than being your second choice." "But you weren't my second choice. I love you." "No, Sophie. You love having me around when it's convenient. There's a difference." She started crying again, but this time I didn't feel anything. No urge to comfort her, no guilt, nothing. Just emptiness. "I'll come get the rest of my stuff tomorrow," she said finally, picking up her box. "I can't be here right now." After she left, I called Emma. Just hearing her voice made me feel calmer. We talked for hours that night. About Sophie. About us. About what happens next. Emma mentioned that some of their mutual friends were already taking sides, with most of them calling her a backstabber without even knowing the whole story. "I don't care," she said. "They can think what they want. I know what's real." I looked around my half-empty apartment, at the spaces where Sophie's things used to be, and realized I felt relieved. like I could finally breathe again. I told Emma to come over to settle with me, and she agreed. I didn't care anymore about anything. The next morning, Sophie came to get her stuff. She brought Jessica and two other friends I didn't know well. They gave me these nasty looks while helping her pack, like I was the bad guy in all this. Sophie had obviously told them her version of events. Your Xbox is mine. I bought it for your birthday, she said, unplugging it. Fine, take it. I was beyond caring about stuff like that. Emma showed up halfway through the packing session. She hadn't planned to come, but I texted her saying I needed coffee, and she read between the lines. Sophie's friends started whispering when Emma walked in, but Emma just ignored them and handed me my coffee. Really? You're just going to flaunt this in my face? Sophie snapped. Nobody's flaunting anything, Emma said calmly. I'm just here to support my boyfriend. First time either of us had used that word. Sophie looked like she'd been slapped. The packing went faster after that. Sophie's friends kept rushing around, grabbing things, probably trying to get her out of there before she had another meltdown. When they finished, Sophie stood in the doorway for a minute. I really loved you, she said softly. No, I replied. You loved having me available whenever you wanted me. There's a difference. After they left, Emma helped me clean up. You okay? Emma asked, watching me toss Sophie's things in a donation box. Yeah, for the first time in months, I really am. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, life's been different. Better. Emma and I are taking things slow, doing it right. We got coffee at her favorite spot last weekend and ran into some of Sophie's friends. They ignored us completely. Emma just squeezed my hand and smiled. Sophie's still telling people her side of the story. How I cheated, how Emma betrayed her, how we secretly wanted each other the whole time. Some people believe her. The ones who matter don't. Yesterday, Emma brought over a bunch of her kindergarten students' artwork to decorate my fridge. Too empty, she said. Looking at those crayon drawings, I realized something. This is what I want. Someone who notices the little things, who cares about making my space feel warmer, who shows up with coffee just because. I didn't reply to her text. Instead, I helped Emma grade papers for her class while we watched that new mystery show she loves. Simple, normal, real. Looking back, I'm almost grateful Sophie suggested that open relationship. Not because it was a good idea, it wasn't, but because it showed me what I really wanted in a partner. Someone who chooses me first, not just when it's convenient. That's the thing about life. Sometimes the worst decisions lead you to the best places. Or in my case, to the right person who was there all along. Edit. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Emma's reading this over my shoulder right now, laughing at how I described her, always smiling. She says hi, by the way.